So good morning, January the 21st, 2016. This is CISG114, Section 1 Web Technology. And like today's day number 4 in the week number 2. I'm a little bit late today, so excuse me. Welcome back to this class. This is a very good morning for you. We have class discussions last time based on the argument review 1 in the second day of the semester, last Thursday. And then we invite all of you to pose some questions on the Moodle side. And so based on the questions collected, that's week number 1. You can see it right here. We got a bunch of questions, okay, from Sheila, from Jennifer, from Alex, from Annie, from Rowena, and then Ethan, right? So we have 6 tables last time, right? And so we gone through 4 tables discussions with the remaining 2 tables left today, and I promise you will be given a chance to share, and the agents is not going to talk, but table members are going to talk. So what I'm going to pass to you today, starting from the table from Jennifer, you can pick up this microphone and then pass it to your table member, and then I will be your cameraman. And then after that, you pass the microphone to the other table where Annie is, right? So allow me to position the camera at this point, and you're free to talk. Please introduce yourself and repeat the questions of your table agents and the feedback on those questions. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you're free to say anything.
Hello. Actually, she has answered her questions, but after our discussion, we think that something wrong in her answer, because she said that because Hong Kong is a very international city, therefore it will have a risk of having much more hackers. But after our discussion, we have found that actually the video is produced by Hong Kong media. Therefore, they will much more focus on the serious hacker in Hong Kong. Actually, all over the world, hacker there is always hacker in it, and also hacker is a very serious problem.
Okay, it's a very good response. And then it's a Jerry or Terry.
My name is Jerry.
Okay.
And the second question is how can we avoid hackers, or how can we improve the way to prevent being hacked? For me, after our group's discussion, I think that there is a very difficult way to avoid hackers, but we need to ask ourselves that why do the hackers targeting us when it's the main problem here? Because if you don't have enough potential to being hacked, or you don't expose yourself to the hackers, then there won't be any hackers hacking your computers to gain any information or useful things from us. For example, if you don't always expose yourself by giving out information, your name, your address, your telephone number, there won't be any hackers attracting hackers to come towards you. And there is another thing that I want to mention. During the last lesson, Professor Kim said he is very about the Microsoft terms of usage, and I don't know how to say it. He is very that Microsoft is watching his computer all the time, but I don't really think so, because there is no protecting our mutual interests and our information. So I don't think it's really a major problem. That's what I want to
It's
say.
a very good response because he's listening to what I'm trying to say. Are you the member of this table? You just came. Okay, that's very good. So we have two feedback to Jennifer's concerns. And then, Jerry, could you pass the microphone to Annie, the table on this side, so that we could hear the members' response based on Annie's discussions? Yes. The members' response, yes. You're going to help us to understand Annie's concern. But Annie, you could repeat your concerns before you pass the microphone to your members. Yes. You're given a microphone, so feel comfortable with that we are here to hear your feedback. Yes.
My name is Luna.
Nuna, thank you.
Hello everyone. From last class, Annie had asked 3 questions. The first question is, what can we do if suffered by cybercrime?
Cybercrime.
Sorry,
Alright.
cybercrime. The answer is we think we should use the internet carefully.
Yes.
Don't put our private in some unknown websites, such as our true name,
Right.
our home address, and our more information about such as our
Just that means do not give out our private information easily online. Yes. Yeah, right.
we should check clicks on the web.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
It's okay.
And the second question is what solutions we should make to protect ourselves on the internet.
Okay.
And we have discussed that we should check our computers regularly.
Right.
And we can use some software.
So use some antivirus software to protect our computer.
Yes,
So-
such as we all know we should take care of our computer carefully.
Okay.
And install some antivirus program.
Okay. So it's very good. Thank you very much for contributing to the discussion. So could you pass the microphone to the gentleman over there? Hello? Yes. Thank you for your participations. Yes. It's great. You bring your iPad here. It's very convenient. We're listening to you.
Hello everyone. I'm Leo.
Neil, thank you.
In last class, we talk about some basic hacker skill.
Yes, some basic hacker skills.
Yes. It's nowadays the hacker the cheat is very easy to get
Right.
your such as address, credit card number,
Mm-hmm.
and the bank card number.
Yes.
It's on internet.
Mm-hmm.
We are talk about how I protect our safety in internet.
Okay.
download the copyright software to
Okay.
avoid being hacked
Okay.
on computer.
Yes. A lot of the freewares are packaged with a lot of different kind of viruses,
Yes.
so that we should avoid downloading
The software
software of this type, right?
in order to protect our safety and
Okay, information security to keep, right? So, okay, we thank you very much for your contributions to the discussions in class. Now let's go back to today's class now. It's very important that in this class we got the feedback and the discussions from the students because all of these are important. So allow me to introduce today. Now we have 3 members who were not here last time. You're one of this. May I invite you to be seated here because we want to have tables of 3, and then you were not here last time at this. Yes, in the second class, and you were not here last time, right? Okay, so please be seated comfortably. We want you to have interactions in class. We put you in a table with at least 2 other members, all right? In this class, we have about 23 students, so hopefully we keep this number. Now, let me get back to today's class, all right? So, first of all, let's come to the theme of this week. The theme of the first week is inquiry-based learning. That is the way we want to help you to get yourself educated for this type of learning mode. But the topic for the first week is introductions coming to terms Web 2.0. Okay, now data living, and in the first week, we use the documentary to stimulate your thinking. The documentary is here, which is a news documentary aired on August 8, 2015, produced by Hong Kong TVJ, the news channel. Well, we have a lot of things to help you to get started in this course. Allow me to answer this question. Have I given you this video? Not yet, right? In class. Okay, that's good. That's what I want. I do not want to give this to you until moments later. Now, this is week number 2. So again, the theme is inquiry-based learning, and the topic is just the same, because the first 2 weeks we try to help you to come to terms with Web 2.0. And then I forgot to give you a question to think about last time. That means on day number 3. But fortunately, I still remember that I need to pay attention to the following important questions, and I would like to invite you to think about this. Okay? This is the question. Is web technology making your life better? This is the discussions for today. And I want you to keep this in mind and try to have some precipitations of your ideas before we get engaged in the discussions later on in this class within today. You have around 5 to 10 minutes time to do this on your table. It's web technology making your life better. Okay, this is the question we would like to stimulate you for thinking in today's class. Let me make sure I turn on the lights here. Yes. All right. So, what are we going to do first? What is meant by inquiry-based learning? Okay, what is meant by inquiry-based learning? Last time, I introduced IPL to you by picking on the keyword questioning. And I used the verb, action verb, question into something to help you to start up your thinking process. Furthermore, when I invite you to watch the documentary, I say, let's start step by step. And I introduce to you three important methods. O for observations, I for interpretations, and A for applications. But I just invite you to exercise your observations when you're doing the watching of the documentary. And I invite you to pick what you can see in the specific documentary and what you can get from the documentary. Now that's, many of you did it because as I could see from your discussions, you have raised many interesting issues. Today, before we get started, let me get to something that is very important. Inquiry-based learning is considered as the 21st century learning skill, or better say, forward learning. So I need to give you a couple of minutes to get yourself introduced on this 21st century learning. But briefly speaking, it is an important mode of learning which will get you equipped with the 21st century skills, okay, to deal with problems of your living. Okay, let me make sure that I give you this.
The adoption of technology in everyday life has changed the way we do many of our daily tasks. 21st century learners are required to have a very different skill set compared to learners of the past. In traditional learning, students learn not to ask too many questions. Instead, they are required to listen and repeat the expected answers. Currently, most schools still focus on teaching a set of basic skills that do not serve the needs of modern society. Although students must acquire knowledge, learning content is not enough. Today, the meaning of knowing has shifted from being able to remember and repeat information to being able to locate, evaluate, and use information effectively. Today's students need to be fully prepared for successful learning in the information age. They are heading into a busy and competitive world full of uncertainties, joining a workforce that is more mobile and better qualified than ever before, and building careers that span multiple jobs, positions, and skill sets, some of which haven't been invented yet. In response, schools need to make changes in their approach to adequately prepare students with the required 21st century skills. Technology is transforming the ways that people work and relate to each other, which means that learning in schools needs to change to adequately prepare students. Education should be much more about ways of thinking, which involve creative and critical approaches to problem solving and decision making, whilst also emphasizing learning. Education should also introduce ways of working through communicating and collaborating, as well as refining the necessary tools for working. These tools include information literacy and ICT literacy. And last but not least, students need to develop the skills for living in a multifaceted world as an active and engaged citizen with personal and social responsibility. A 21st century learner is able to apply their skills to numerous situations and experiences, gain new competencies, build relationships, and assume new roles. They are capable of constantly adapting, learning, and growing in a fast-changing world influenced by technology. To meet the challenge of preparing students for a life of constant change and constant learning, teachers need to be innovative in their approach. The skills needed for the 21st century must be central to what students are doing in schools. Inquiry-based learning enables teachers to address these skills in a meaningful way with its student-centered approach and real-world applications. Inquiry-based learning prepares students for an uncertain future by providing an education that supports them to actively engage in their learning, to think critically, to communicate in various ways, to collaborate, and to process information.
Okay, you got it. A little bit connections between 21st century skills and inquiry-based learning. Now, may I invite you to do a little bit of your exercise and your thinking. When we talk about inquiry-based, I specifically point out that it's about questioning. And I say it's an actions that you have to do to question into something. Now, what about learning? What is meant by learning? Before we get to the questions, it's web technology making your life better. Can we start out by thinking for yourself, each one of you, 2 minutes, what is meant by learning for you? What is meant by learning for you? All right? So, why is learning important for you? Okay? And what kind of learning have you been practicing in the past? And you believe it's working for you? Or put it another way, can you remember throughout your studies in the primary school, well, let's take kindergarten first, in the secondary schools, and also a little bit into your college education, what is meant by learning? What is your experience of learning that makes you tick? Okay? Can you try to think about this, and then when you have some possible response, come to the discussion forum for week number 2 here, and put in some of your immediate feedback, all right? So, of course, we have some records of table-based discussions. Now let's try to do it today by, are you still with the table member the last time? Okay, so you remember which table you are. Let's come to add one more table here. We have table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do not have tables, we still have table 6. And I remember, so you're table 7. All right, so when you share something here, make sure you type the table number first. For example, table 7, and if you are John, then type John, and then we can read your response. Okay, think for 2 to 3 minutes, and use your mobile phone to enter some of your immediate feedback on what is meant by learning. All right, so we're waiting for you, and so that you know how to come to this particular site. And what you need to do is add a new discussion topic, your table number, your name, and your immediate feedback, okay? So this is the first exercise we need to do in 5 minutes, all right? We still have other things to do today. And of course, these exercises you're learning, okay, allow me to use the word learning from our last class, what is meant by observation. You observe something in the video, and you can then add into your learning specific things you pick up from this video to help you express what is meant by learning. All right? So there's a little bit interesting loop. There's a loop, all right? Allow me to say that if you forgot which table you belong, you can come back to this forum and take a look at your name there, and you know that there are the name that's on table number. And today we have one more table, table 7. All right. We want to make sure that we got some feedback from you before we elaborate on this particular topic. Yes. Okay, in case you change your table, you just go back to the table number last time, okay, to identify yourself. Because to make it easy, otherwise we have to waste time doing it. Yes. Let me. When you're doing the thinking and entering the response, allow me to take attendance for today. This will save some time towards the end of the class, and we could concentrate more on the topic of discussions that we will do today. It's today's first day, day number 4. Candy, thank you. Wing Wan Jun, thank you. Eddie, thank you. right? So Zichun, thank you. Tom, thank you. Connie, thank you. And then John, you're there, right? Okay. Luna, thank you. Jury, you're there. Tammy, thank you. Francis, thank you. Harden, thank you. Joanna, thank you. Peter, thank you. Ravina, thank you. Jennifer, thank you. Sheena, thank you. Nari, thank you. Kathy, thank you. Alex, thank you. Eason, thank you. Thank you very much. That's very good. We have 21 students, so very good. Now let's get back to the forward to see if we got some responses. Now you can continue input your feedback, even though because of the time, we need to manage and make the best use of our time. So I will go directly to the forum and pick up some responses, and hopefully we got some interesting. Yes, this is for today. Okay. Learning for Joanna is absorbing information, remembering it, and then being able to use it. Okay. It's very much close to what we saw in the video minutes ago in the 21st century learning. All right? It's directly there. And remember, this is a personal experience, okay? Absorbing information, remembering it, and being able to use it, all right? It's very important. Now let's take a look at another one. So, we do not have another one yet. Let's check it, update it. Okay, so good. Now, since we do not have another one, may I just pass the microphone to Joanna? Are you willing to share a little bit more on your personal experience? Is this a very much consistent experience from your primary school to secondary school?
Yes, I think so, because I think that there are certain things that you learn short term, and then there's a long term memory, which is, for me, the real learning stuff that you can keep in for a lifetime. Because there are things that you learn that you don't really learn, you just memorize. And I think learning is only when you're able to reproduce it when you need it, and then you really learn it.
Something that is very interesting when I'm listening to Joanna's sharing. First of all, she mentioned short-term memory, and then you mentioned long-term memory, and then you mentioned something about if you cannot remember it, it's where is it located? In short-term and long-term. You don't need to answer to try to explore together with you. And then you mentioned remembering something. And then you also mentioned reproducing the knowledge, right? Something like that. So now, allow me to ask this question. This is not directly to Joanna, but to all of you. Do you have a similar experience? Let's take a look at it. Learning to me is absorbing information, remembering it, and then being able to use it. Now let's take a look at absorbing information. How do you absorb information? You know that you are observing something, and from your observation, you pick up something from what you observe. And normally, when we observe something, we can say we read something with our eyes, we listen to something with our ear, or we even taste something with our tongue. So observing or absorbing here is through our senses or through something which is beyond our senses. Okay, this is the first question. The key to answer this is remembering something. When we remember something, can we remember something forever? If I asked you, do you remember what you do on January the 21st, 2015? Do you remember what you do on January the 21st, 2015? Now this is January the 21st, 2016. Can you tell me what you do then? Unless you keep a good record. Okay, if you ask me what I did that day, I would say, well, maybe if I have my video on that day with the record, I can watch my video again, and then I can tell you a little bit of what I did on that day. So remembering, mostly, is not 100%. It's not 100%. Do you have any objections? Can you remember something 100% of the life? Okay? Now, let me raise another question. Even though we may not be able to remember something, does it mean that we'll lose that information forever? Does it mean we'll lose that information forever? Do you believe that somewhere inside our brain, actually, the information is stored there, but we just cannot retrieve it? So some neuroscientists will help us. Now, they can help us to remember what we cannot retrieve immediately through a process called hypnosis. They will meet you into hypnosis state when he or she, the neuroscientist, will help you to focus your retrieval process on a specific piece of your memory, and they will help you to remember it a little bit, but not 100% of course. And then being able to use it, put something into practice. It's a very interesting way to express learning. First, we need to take something in, make sure we store it where we can retrieve it, and then we can put it into practice. All right? Do you have a similar experience of learning like this, or do you have a different experience of learning? All right, now you do not need to answer immediately until you feel comfortable with that. So let me just go back here to see if we got a second opinion. Okay, Jennifer. Learning means learn some new skill that fit the generation's requirement and enhance personal competitive ability. That is a very interesting way to express learning. Can we learn some old skills? Can learning include some old skills? Or just new skills? How do you define new? It's okay. We try to question into something. Okay. My interpretations about this, I'm trying to help you to use the I letter in the specific mode of inquiry-based learning, the three important letters that I would like to introduce to you. The first one is O, observation. The second is I, representing interpretations. Now I'm doing a little bit of interpretations, okay? I'm interpreting new in this statement, which is presented by Jennifer, as we as human beings, now let me try to ignore this first, are constantly in a process of integrating something new into our existing framework of knowledge, and that could be considered as something old. Second by second, every day, we are constantly bombarded by something new to our senses, new in such a way that it will capture our attentions. And so we want to integrate something new into our existing framework. So that is learning something new. But that is a very interesting way to express that fit the generation's requirement. In other words, from the perspective of Jennifer, she has a simple criteria to do integrations of something new into the existing framework of knowledge. That will fit the generation's requirement, which is a secret that has to be interpreted by a specific person. In this case, it's Gen5. But Gen5 would like to help us to understand a little bit further how the secret could be validated. And secret could be validated by enhancing your personal competitive ability. So another thing we would like to ask Gen5 is, what do you think is your personal competitive ability that you would like to share with us? Okay, that learning is a very personal definitions. Okay, let's try to look at, to see if we have one more. All right, so one more. We have to go back. I'm sorry, I need to make sure that your precious feedback will be highly valued so we could enjoy the process of learning together. Wow, that's good. Let's go to Tom first. Tom, are you here? Okay. All right, so I think learning is a step-by-step process for us to gain knowledge. Okay. Learning is to gain knowledge. In other words, knowledge could always be incremental in your existing framework. Okay, but in order to do it, you have to go step by step. But I love the word process. The process means it's always ongoing. You will never stop. And get some essential skill. That is very interesting. Knowledge sounds to be something abstract, but skill is something we practice it. And so you say knowledge and skill. So that means you are trying to express the idea of learn and practice. Okay? Okay, let's not use learn. Absorb, remember, and practice. All right? Let's use the words of Joanna. In soft learning, it's for our survival. Survival. Are we going to die if we don't learn? Yes. As John said, yes. In what way? All right, so learning is very interesting. Okay, let me tell you one important fact from physiology. You know what happened when the whole body of your skin is covered with paint? This paint, okay? You cannot breathe. Okay, we don't cover your nose, we don't cover your tongue, you still can breathe, but your skin needs to breathe. And then when you cover with paint, you are eliminating your skin's ability to adjust itself. And from the perspective of scientists, you are taking away ability to learn from the skin, so that the skin, without this capacity to adjust itself through the breathing, the small holes, they're going to die. Okay. When the skin is going to die, or they die, it has a tremendous impact on your body, and eventually you will die. And actually the Japanese did something similar to many of the captives in Hong Kong. During the Second World War, the invasions in China, many people died because of that. All right? So, okay, in one sense that it's the loss of survival. All right? Allow me to just say something crazy about this. Thank you, Tom. And then let's take a look at another thing that is from, beside Tom, it's Neo. Oh, can we give the chance to Rowena first, the lady? Okay? Yes. I like learning, but not studying. Wow, it's very interesting. Can we learn without studying? Okay. We hit the target. I think you remember the message I gave you in the first week. I gave you a table between the secondary school mode of learning called confidence approach and the increment approach. And when you do the confidence approach, a lot of time you allow me to say, you absorb information to a point where you cannot take it any longer, and you labor through the process. There's a huge difference between the two. Very good. I'm just about to get to that. Learning, in my opinion, is important, and it's ingrained in all of our being. Okay, in one way, I'm looking for in one way. We would be vegetables if we did not learn. It's a very interesting metaphor. What does it mean? Vegetables. Comatose. Okay, right. During high school and primary school, the type of learning I experienced was a mix between learning to remember what they had taught, okay, and learning for the sake of learning and understanding. I think the first one is carries some negative connotations, right? And this carries a positive connotation for you. That means when you are taught to learn something, not out of your own will, you have to labor through the learning process. But when you choose to learn something based on your own interest, you have a lot of energy to dive into learning, something like this. Until today, I try to learn for the sake of learning and understanding what has been taught so that I apply it in different situations. Later on in this class, I will introduce to you two important concepts. The concept which is mentioned in the first teacher's message, or week number 1. That is called a deep learning approach and a surface learning approach. The deep learning approach is very much characterized by a person who is eager to discover meaningful events behind the learning process. The surface approach is a doing approach, typically used by many students because they have to get by certain requirements. And so from this perspective, we have intentional learner and what we call the lay learner. Okay, so we'll come to that. Oh, but very good, because when I see something like this, I could see your feelings behind it. But the question is, can you tell us what is meant by learning by reading this? What is meant by learning? Okay, so maybe you can do some I things, the interpretations. Learning for Romina is an indication of an interest-based activity which is very much loved by Romina, and what we call a boring activity, which is an assigned for the completions of a particular requirement at school, which is not as interesting as what is meant by that. Okay, so much for that. Let's try to get back to this. So let me, yes, right here, and come to class here. So we have done something on learning. Now let's go back to inquiry-based learning. So let's listen to some students to see if we've got some ideas about inquiry-based learning.
So, Jamie, can you give us a definition of IBL?
Well, I think it's quite difficult to define IBL. I think it means a lot of different things to different people, depending on whether you're a member of staff or a student or what kind of discipline or subject you're doing. But I think in kind of general terms, it's about putting questions and ideas at the centre of learning, so student investigations and getting students to do research instead of kind of finding out the answers for themselves, instead of directing them and telling them the answer and expecting them to remember it. I think people learn and remember things and are able to reuse them much more effectively if they've found them out for themselves than if they've just been told it and expected to remember it.
Hi Laura, can you give us a definition of IBL, please?
For me, inquiry-based learning, there isn't one answer. So I would have to say that it's a real variety of things. It can be working alone, independently, going away and researching something for yourself, really making the topic your own, making the information your own, and then creating your own knowledge base. Or it can equally be network learning. So a combination of working with different people within staff, but also with other sort of peers, other students. And again, sort of researching through sort of discussion and then evaluating the information that you've got and then turning that again into a new knowledge base through your inquiry.
Inquiry-based learning can be many things, okay? Let's stop this first. It's a TED Talk. We're at a TED Talk at the University of Macau this Friday evening, and I'm one of the participants there. It's love to be there. Okay, so now, you've learned something from this brief sharing on inquiry-based learning. They mentioned quite a number of keywords, all right? So let's try one of this. you got through the ideas of 21st century learning, which introduced to you at the end of this video inquiry-based learning, okay? And then I've introduced to you the meaning of inquiry-based learning as an act of questioning into something. And so I invite you to question yourself what is meant by learning for your personal experience. And then we heard some comments on individual students and also counseling students and what the IBR is all about. And one of the activities mentioned by those students represent ignore the telephone that means. It's not a good time to do anything like this. So the idea is that it could be many things to many different people, inquiry-based learning. But the key word that I love to mention here by one of the ladies there, it's research. Okay? Research. So what is meant by research? If learning is a process, a step-by-step process, okay, of research. What is meant by research? Joanna say, I learned something, it could be in my short-term memory, it could be in my long-term memory. I have to remember how to retrieve it. Okay? And what if I cannot retrieve something from my memory? That means I could not put that into practice because I do not have that particular chunk of knowledge. Okay? And turn that knowledge into the skills that I could demonstrate to you. And then I mentioned research. What is meant by research? If we chop this word into two pieces, RE is we, search is search for something. I need to search for what I've learned in my long-term memory or short-term memory, such as I could take this out and demonstrate it for people to look at it, that I have the knowledge. So if I cannot search for that, I repeat the process of searching, or I repeat the process of learning. All right? So here we go. Let me see if I can get this one. Why we need some more time to get something done? The intellect is not willing to help us a little bit more. Okay, let's try to do it again. All right, so here we go. Yes.
There is an old saying, tell me and I forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I will understand. The last part of this statement is the essence of inquiry-based learning. Students, rather than learning passively from the teacher and memorizing facts, construct their own understanding and knowledge. The concept of inquiry-based learning is something that all of us experience throughout our lives. Growing up, children are continually asking questions in an attempt to make sense of the world. We all want to understand the world around us, or try to figure out how it works, and we do this by asking questions. For example, how are engines able to make cars move? Or why is the sky always grey and island? It is our natural urge to inquire, and during this process, we are continually thinking in order to make meaning. Essentially, inquiry-based learning starts with a question. Many of us have grown up learning through traditional methods. In this approach, teachers act as the sage on the stage, passing on information from a textbook to the students in a step-by-step process. Success is then measured in the student's ability to recite this information and to focus on reproducing one correct answer. Inquiry-based learning is more dynamic than this, as it actively involves students in their own learning. Inquiry-based learning stems from John Dewey's constructivist theory that people construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing things and then reflecting on those experiences. Constructivists believe that children learn best when they ask questions, investigate solutions, create new knowledge as they gather information, discuss their discoveries and experiences, and reflect on new knowledge. In other words, students' learning is not based on teacher-directed activities that stress recall, but rather they are learning the skills to synthesize, interpret, and evaluate information. In an inquiry teaching approach, the teacher acts as a facilitator of the student's learning rather than a provider of information. As well as having an excellent understanding of the content, the teacher also needs to carefully plan their learning units. This planning will involve the teacher either developing an open-ended question or devising a topic based on the curriculum for the students to determine their own questions. It will also involve designing exploration-type activities that activate prior knowledge and engages the students. Typically, the lesson will start with an open-ended question devised by the teacher, the students, or sometimes both. Through the use of carefully planned activities, the teacher will then encourage students to discuss the question and search for their own answers. It is during this process where students gather resources, do their own research, and synthesize their information. They then present and share their findings. Finally, the students will then need to be given the opportunity to reflect on their learning. Through this process, students are building their own knowledge. Naturally, every class is different, and the approach of the teacher will vary according to the ability of the class and the topic. Teachers are able to utilize different levels of inquiry, from a structured approach to an open inquiry. There are essentially three levels of inquiry: structured, guided, and open. A structured approach is where the teacher mainly directs the inquiry. The teacher provides a question to be investigated, and they would then provide step-by-step instructions that will help enable the students to discover the answers. These kinds of inquiries are important because they enable students to gradually develop their abilities to conduct more open-ended inquiries. It is also a good level to start for teachers who are new to inquiry-based learning. With guided inquiry, the teacher generally chooses the questions, but the students will take more responsibility for establishing the direction and methods of their inquiry. The teacher plays an important role in guiding the inquiry. This could be through feedback or posing further questions that help lead the students in the right direction. In an open inquiry, the students take the lead in establishing the question and methods, while the teacher takes on a supportive role. Having students ask the questions that guide their own investigation is the key to open inquiry and requires higher order thinking. It is also possible to use a combination of two types of inquiry, and this is called coupled inquiry. For example, the teacher could begin with the guided inquiry phase, followed by an open inquiry phase. If the teacher understands the different levels of inquiry, then they can vary the learning experiences according to the needs of their students.
Well, I personally love this video very much because it sets the tunes for your exercise, which I would like you to get involved and engage next class. Okay? So remember the three levels of inquiry here: structured, guided, and open. Now I would like you to participate in this exercise by choosing your levels of inquiry, and when you choose one, you need to stick to the guidelines presented by this video. You might have to provide some structured questions, but leave the big topic questions. Okay? You might have to get involved with asking some questions to help us to understand better your personal positions or your team's positions. Let's try to see it this way. When we come back to this particular date number 3, I've used a specific, what is inquiry-based learning, as the last piece to help you understand it. That I use this to motivate you to understand why you need it. And then we go back to day number 2. And I want you to apply what you learned today to answer the question, is web technology making your life better? Okay? Of course, it's not just questions. When you click on this link, you will be presented with a specific paper or article written by someone who is going to give you his or her perspective on answering this question. Now, use what you learned today on the different levels of inquiry. You can do an observations of this article. You can write down some questions based on the I-word interpretations following the guidelines of the particular video that you just saw today. Alright? And then I would like you to do some work in each one of your online learning journal. The best one is do it in week number 2's online learning journal. So each one of you could help gather some information to engage your table members for discussions. Okay? When you do the discussions, you come back to this. Okay? Discussion forum. And remember your table number, which you can always refer to the Public Online Discussion Forum of this particular forum here, and engage your partner to share your ideas. And remember, you do not need to reach any consensus with your table member. You can say, technology, web technology, is not making my life easier for the following reasons. Or your table members would say, web technology is actually making my life easier also for the following reasons. Now, this is something I would like to see happening in each of your table-based discussions, and so much better if you can share that before next class. Okay, now I've given you an assignment for next week's discussions to discuss the question, is web technology making my life better? Now, when you are ready to share, make sure we are taking the specific assessment process now. If you look at our forum number 1, from week number 1, you can see we've already sent a specific call for student sign up for this week, but today is already day number 4, okay? So you can see a similar call for student sign up for week number 3, day number 5, and day number 6. And I expect some of you at least will sign up for that, all right? And when you sign up, I will give you 5 minutes time to share your ideas in class here. And so we can listen to your wonderful perspective with your work done behind. And remember, you will be rewarded because of the assessment scheme we introduced to you on week number 1. These will be considered as your in-class participations. And throughout the semester, each student is supposed to do 10 times such in-class participations to reap your 20 semester points. Okay? So I highly encourage you to do that. So do you understand this? You will see a call for student sign up for week number 3 sharing, or day number 5, day number 6 later on this afternoon. And when you are ready, sign up so that you will be given a time slot next Monday, 5 minutes at most, to share your ideas. And the question is, it's web technology making my life better. Okay? When you do the sharing, you need to show us, definitely, your journals, what you have come up with to answer this question. What are some of your findings for your own living experience together with your reading? All right? So it will be fine if you can do something like this. Yes?
I can understand. It's supposed to, right? When I think about the topic in the journal first.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if I want to share it, I sign up.
Yeah, that's it. You'll be given 5 minutes for the next one. And of course, you can select which day to share. Day number 5 or day number 6 next week. Very simple. All right? And of course, I want you to make sure to review what you learned today from our particular website here. All right? So that you could actually absorbing information from what you learned today, remembering some of the information and put them into practice. It's also a step-by-step process of learning. Okay? All right, I think I need to stop here today. Allow me to say an apology. I did not seem to give you time to speak today. Well, I have to show you something. My intention is to make sure I speak less and I give the time to you. All right? So next time you'll have more time to share. All right? But this time it's on a silent process. Thank you very much for coming, and sorry for being late 2 minutes today. I'll try to be on time. If you have any other questions, remember, I've reserved 5 minutes now to entertain questions in class. All right? Do you have any question on what you're supposed to do? Remember, you do not need to submit anything, but if you want to share, you have to sign up, okay? And I highly encourage you to sign up for next Monday and also next Thursday. You might want to ask me this question: how do we use the journal? It's very simple. Just click on the journal right here, and then you click the Stop Editing button, and then you type everything here. At the end of doing it, make sure you post the journal, save changes, and I can read it. Okay? I can read your journal, but only you can read the journal. No other student in this class will read your journal, except the teacher. All right?
So then how do we share it?
It's very simple. You can sign up in the replying to my call for sign up. All right? And then I will make sure to give you a time slot. If you want to share on day number 5, so during the class of day number 5, I will give you 5 minutes.
Yeah, but this one only I see, so I only share what I share. If I post in my own journal or someone else shares.
Okay, this time is an individual one. But if you want to share with the whole class your journals, when you sign up, you can actually, when you reply to that, you can add your journal continuously. Do you see what I mean? For example, here is a very interesting process of sign up. For example, you come to the forum discussions here. Suppose this is week number 1, and you want to sign up for week number 2 here. So the way to sign up is very simple. You click reply, okay? Right? Actually, I got someone to sign up. But then it's for last week or this week. So it's an example. When you click reply, okay, you're going to say, I want to share on a particular day, and you can type something journal here or copy and paste here. And when you press pause, everyone in this class will read the journal. It's really up to you. You want to share with the whole class, or you want to post material only after your in-class sharing. Do you want to do it before, or do you want to do it after? It's really up to you. You understand the meaning of that? Yeah. But the simple act is you must say, okay, I want to sign for sharing on a particular day. That is the message you need. But if you want to say a little bit more, here is the context of my sharing next class as much as you want to share on that particular forum frame. Okay? It's really up to you.
So it's an individual sharing, not a group sharing.
Individual first, okay? Because once you did it individually, I'll give you some time to put things together in the table next week, all right? But you see that sometimes we do not have that much time. So individual first, and then the group is in the class. Okay. Later on, when you are affiliated with a learning partner or table with teams, then you can do it in pair or in teams. Now, one more thing I would like to remind you: if you read the teacher's message this week, I invite you to name your learning partner before the end of this Saturday. Okay? And the way to let me know who your learning partner is, okay, it's by this Saturday, you need to, this is something very important, I need to make sure you remember that. You need to write here, okay, this link will be open starting from the morning of this Saturday, and then subsequently every week. And you need to come here, all right, and add a discussion topic called My Learning Partner and list the details of your learning partner statement, okay? Which you can copy the table I gave you in the teacher's message number 2, all right? So in teacher's message number 2, if you read it here, I know you have to go because it's 44 minutes. 1 minute for me to share that with you. This is teacher's message number 2. And down here, I've given you a simple table. You can copy and paste this table and fill in the data to represent who your learning partner is, okay? But of course, you need to have the consensus of the learning partner. And this is what I want to see in your hotline with me, studying this Saturday, okay? Read teacher's message number 2. Everything I expect you to do is already here, indicated, all right? So then you need just to follow the instructions. All right? Thank you very much for your question. We'll get used to it, all right? It's your first time here, right? So is it too much for you? It's okay, right? You can always watch the YouTube video of our English break classes and then walk through this website. I just give you 2 minutes with you. Let's study next week. I'll give you the whole semester. All right? So thank you very much. Yes. If you still have a question, you can stay and ask more questions. All right? Look for a learning partner. Could I have the mic? Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Bye-bye. Bye.唔使睇晒嘅，我哋睇一睇其實，但係有啲核心嘅嘢我哋要嚟睇。但係至於核心嘅嘢，我第一堂講過，幫我考試會再重新一次，因為第3星期就係我哋每個星期會 read list。我哋每個星期 read list 裏面咧，每個 list 都有1、2條至3、4條。咁你就其實我係 expect 每個星期咧要 study 1條，揀1條嚟出嚟 study。即係無論嗰兩嘢都係話好，你只需要揀1條出嚟 study。當你揀一個問題出嚟 study 嘅時候咧，話俾咧每條問題有啲 sources， 你亦都要揀一個 source， 去研究下個 source 俾我哋知道關於嗰條問題係點。嗱，我哋留心每條問題都係 study 嗰個字叫 what 咧就係你需要關注嘅嘢。我哋唔係問 why how where，OK？ 咁就係個目的係乜嘢咧？目的就係揾我哋呢個 class 咧，全部嘅 class。我哋要 sorry。That's it for today's CISG114 Section 1 Web Technology and Life on day number 4. Until next week, stay tuned.